I'm here. That's why I'm here, not there. Good morning.
Call to order the Public Safety Committee for Tuesday, September 20th, 2022. Let's say the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do our roll call.
Dan Blanchett.
Susie Bayhan.
Jim Nickel.
Don Thomas.
Heidi Youngworth.
Jim Bagoulis.
Perfect. Jason Freeman, Public Works.
Wonderful. Dan will not be able to make it today as he's traveling for a wedding. Approval of the minutes from August 16th. Have someone approve them?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second that.
Wonderful. Okay, moving along. Public comment. Anyone? No public comment today. Lee County Sheriff's update.
Good morning, Mark Benora, Lieutenant, Lee County Sheriff's Office. Short and sweet this morning. I really don't have any trends or updates for you other than Labor Day went smooth. No major issues. Pretty good crowds out there, but we had adequate personnel and everything went smooth.
Mark, at some point, could you provide us maybe with some statistical data on how many traffic citations are issued on Estero Boulevard
I can try.
at some point?
That would have to be a public record request. You through the Sheriff's Office.
So we would have to do that.
Correct.
You couldn't do it for us.
Correct.
Okay.
We can do that.
I just get a lot of feedback from people that there's, particularly in the evening hours, a lot of speeding on Boulevard. And
Yeah, you need.
so I have no idea, I have no idea what context to put that in if you don't have any numbers
I would say
of enforcement.
if you want, you have to have a time frame and a location to get those numbers. I mean, if you
Right.
just submit that and put that in as a public record request, and they can get that back to you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. I don't really have anything either. It's been pretty quiet, I'm guessing.
Yes.
All right. Okay, onward. Pretty quiet day today. Bike lanes and markings. Has everybody seen the new tested bike lane and everything that Lee County put in?
Yes.
And,
Near the bus stop down there?
yes.
Yeah.
I always get the names of the streets off. What are your thoughts? I mean, I'm excited about it. I mean, I've been reading up on it. I haven't used it yet, but I will be anxious to see what they find out. And they're doing some testing, and maybe we can get some additional bike lane and traffic pattern lanes, whatever, put in for different places on the island where we do need to have some additional guidance.
I think it looks great, and I hope it really works.
I've had some feedback both directions. Some people thought it's a little overkill because it's quite colorful when you come down in that area. On the other hand, I think that's the beauty of it. It will catch your attention and help to guide you out. And I have noticed, if you're following traffic up through there, cars do seem to go around the bus stop rather than cut through it, where in some of the ones that are just marked white, frequently traffic just ignores that. If there's nobody around, they just zip right through it. But this kind of makes people go around that bus stop area, and I think that's really the intent of it, is to protect the bike lane and to protect the bus stop area. So I think it's highly effective, even though some people might think it's a little overkill color-wise, but.
I noticed the same thing. People are going around. They're not like driving a straight line. They're actually following the road where that section is.
That's exactly the intent of doing it, so.
Yeah, I mean, the color of it it does pop.
Right.
Yep.
So, it definitely grabs your attention because I wasn't sure where it was, and then I'm like, oh, there it is.
There it is.
You know, it's one of those that, what it does is it reminds people. And, you know, when you see something like that, I think for people that are visiting, it's very intuitive for people to say, oh, that's bus lane, because like you said, the white ones, you know, people almost on top of it before you realize that, oh, that's a spot for a bus. But this, you can, you know, maybe it's 50 feet or 100 feet, you realize, oh, that's an area for a bus and bike, and it's, you know, labeled that way for, you know, anyone that's new to the area can pick that up very easily.
And it clearly shows the movement of the bike lane around the bus stop, and hopefully, and also the movement of traffic, vehicular traffic around the bus stop, and keeping it out of the bike lane. So I think it's a great, myself, personally, but
I'm thrilled they did it. I mean, we've asked for something, and maybe this will lead to the next discussion of some solutions from Red Coconut to Times Square between pedestrians and bikes, that we can be creative and find different avenues of letting people know where the bike path, or create a new bike path or a lane somewhere. I know that we don't have a lot of square footage between the road and the sidewalk, but you know, maybe with these discussions, we can have Lee County work with us to come up with something that would alleviate some of the congestion, so people would choose to use a bike instead, because they know they're going to get through and it's safety, and they're not fighting the pedestrians on the sidewalk. So I was hoping we can get Rob Phelan here maybe in the next month or two when we start picking up. I know they're really busy, but maybe that's our next step, is start working on solutions for that next stretch of land. If we get positive feedback back from this test site, maybe we can come up with some different ideas to eliminate all that congestion.
Great idea, Dawn.
All right, next one, crosswalk update. Well, as everybody heard, Sandelli and Lee County Commissioners gave us the money to add a flashing crosswalk at Linnell. Very excited about that. We had received probably 20 to 30 emails from residents down there, and that were concerned for their safety as they were crossing the road. Chief Martin and Dan worked hand in hand with Sandelli and Lee County, and we thank them for listening. And as I understand it, I was hoping either one would be here, but I think it is going to be the flashing crosswalk, similar to what we have at Red Coconut. And you know, it's the first baby steps, but I think it's a good step and a nice compromise that that they listened, and we could get some things done on that. So that one can be off the mark for now.
Do we know a timing when it would be installed?
They said it was going to take close to 6 to 8 months. Am I right?
So
Yes.
they just allocated the money, and I thought the number they allocated was like around $50,000, and I think that's why I know it's not a traffic signal, because a real signal costs about $1 million. They were throwing around that number around, so this would clearly just be the pedestrian, but I think that's a step in the right direction.
Okay. Report from Councilman Allers. I don't think we have anything, so I was going to have him give the update, see if there's anything else. Public safety event in October. We have, I guess, Jenny Dexter to come tell us what's going on and what she has planned.
Actually, the fire department is leading this event on October 15th in the parking lot, or their lot next door. And,
You want to come over here?
There you go.
Come here, announce
Just
yourself.
there you go.
Jenny Dexter, Public Information Officer, Communications Coordinator. The fire department is leading the event on October 15th from 10 to 2, and it's a public safety event. It will include the Lee County Sheriff's Office and us. So the fire department has a lot of different events planned. We will just have a booth there. We have a tent that has the town logo, and we'll have a booth with some information about the town and public safety. Which brings me to, I would really like to produce 2 publications that this committee has approved and seen before, using your budget though. And the cost is would be $52.30 for one and $80 for another, so less than $150 to have riding bikes safely. I don't know if you guys want to look this over.
And this, you're gonna have these produced to hand out that day at the booth?
Yeah, just to have on hand. A lot of people don't pick things up, but
Right.
just to have in case people have questions about riding bikes and questions about, you know, who provides the law enforcement for the town, which is the Lee County Sheriff, and who provides the EMT services. But also, that one is about, that you guys approved probably a year ago. It's also about locking your car and that kind of thing, so. And also, if any of you, I know last time you mentioned that you might want to help that day. We do have, I just made a pass through the lobby, and there's several lights still and bells. So you guys at one point had said that you would like to possibly pass those out
How many do
at
we
the
have?
event. It looked like maybe, I didn't count them, but I would guess 40 to 50 per.
Yeah, I know that you all were planning on, potentially there was a school event or something before I switched over here that you had some bells and lights allocated for, so we have those still, if you would want to give them out on that day, or you can save them for something else as well.
You know what, I need to reach out to the new principal.
Yeah,
And-
that
and
school
find out.
event, we were gonna do that, was at the end of school, and
It- well,
it
then-
didn't
then-
happen.
Yeah, and I think the principal
Okay.
left, and we didn't get any follow-through on that.
So,
And I know that they handed it out at Halloween last year.
Gotcha.
We handed a bunch of lights and bells to the students around Halloween. I just want to make sure at the safety event, if locals are coming, that's what we want people with the local bikes. I don't want them taking them up north, up north and using it on their bike. I mean, yes, I want them safe there, but really, we want to keep it here.
And then your budget will reset in October as well, so I think you
Sure.
have some money allocated from public safety for the budget moving forward, as long as everything
Okay.
gets approved on Thursday. So we can always look into trying to order some more
Sure.
if you want
you
for the
think we
event.
get some more in between now and October 15th?
We'll reach out to the supplier and see how quickly we can get them for you.
This being the first time this has been done.
I think we should do it. I think we
Yeah.
should have it there. We should have things that people, the tchotchkes and things they can
Right, that
take.
they can
And
take.
I motion to pass the $150, whatever it was, 158, 152, you said,
To do these.
to do the
public
flyers.
Thank you.
meetings. And we want, so I take a
Yes,
vote.
Yeah, everybody vote? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, you can do
Thank
it.
you. And if anyone wants to help, I'll be there the whole day between 10 and 2. But if anybody wants to help, we could take an hour shift at a time, or depending on how many of you want to be there, so, or not. I mean, I'm fine doing it myself too, if you don't.
Okay, we will,
I'll put it on my calendar to,
What's the date, Jenny, just to clarify?
October
so
15th.
I can get there for some time of it.
Your
Okay.
next meeting is,
I'll probably be there in my capacity as a fire commissioner, but I can help out too.
Okay,
while I'm
great.
on the property, so.
I'm actually out of town that day, but,
Okay, so it sounds like Jim and Heidi at least will do some part of it.
We'll be around.
Okay,
Yes.
Help as we
I'll
can.
be there, but I'll
You might
welcome
need a
anyone,
break.
so, yeah, exactly.
wonderful.
and we can bring the stock of the bells and the lights that we have, and if you all choose to give some out, then you're welcome to, and either way, we'll still reach out to the supplier and see how quickly we can redo that for the school or whoever else.
Okay, great. And I'll reach out to the principal this week. Jenny, since you're sitting up there, I have a question. Since Jim just brought up we could have a hurricane coming.
We could.
We could. So tell us a little bit about how you will, or what your process is when something like this is happening. So it's a week away, obviously, and things can move quite, or more, could move quite quickly. How do you reach out to the residents? And I'm sure you have a protocol or whatever you do. So I just wanted to hear a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, if it becomes necessary, I'm one of the people that would be in the Emergency Operations Center. But also I can do all of our communications for the town from there, which is perfect because I'm right on site. But we take our lead from obviously Roger and the Lee County Emergency Operations Center. So whatever kind of communication they're recommending that we get out, we will, through our various means, through social media, through the website homepage. We have, I don't know, 1,600 people signed up on our text and email Notify Me list, so we do that. We also have Code Red, people signed up for that. And that's about it. We'll get information out as it becomes necessary to do so. I mean, we're pretty careful about not, panicking people, with information, but
Hopefully, we won't need any of this, but it is the
Yes.
peak of the season, so.
Yes.
And there's always things out on the horizon that you have to
Right.
keep an eye on.
absolutely.
Well, and
Ranger
making sure
passes.
people have their hurricane passes and all that
Yes.
good stuff.
If people don't have a hurricane pass to get back on the island, if they would have to leave the island for any reason, then they can get them at any time at the front desk. And we also work very closely with the fire department and the sheriff's office, so on getting information out.
We'll be watching. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
MPO meeting update.
Well, the MPO meeting was short and sweet. They went over some financials, and I didn't see anything related to the island. The Lee Tran folks talked about improvements to bus stations downtown and out in Lehigh Acres, and said that the tram would be back on its normal route soon. And then one thing that they did, the FDOT liaisons said that there's a regional grant opportunity meeting it unfortunately conflicts with our safety day on the 15th from 10 to 2, so, but it's at the North Fort Myers Library.
And it's a grant for,
She didn't really say. I didn't know, I think I understood it as being just an opportunity to find out what grants are available and.
I have a question. Do they ever talk about in that, so they're talking about Lee Tram, do they ever talk about the efficiency of Lee Tran? We've got that parking lot that's on Pine Ridge Road that's kind of hidden. And, they encourage people to park there, and then they want to take the tram over to the island, but they're still stuck in traffic. If it was me, I'm like, would I rather be in a tram stuck in traffic or in my car? I'd rather be in a car. So do they ever did they bring up anything like that on traffic? I always wonder why they can't come up with a solution.
The whole meeting lasted less than 30 minutes,
Okay,
so.
well, thank you for going. We appreciate that, because I know it's a lot of time to go, It's a hike down there, so we appreciate that. We're moving along quite fast today. All right, member items.
I have none.
I will not be seeking a second term on the Public Safety Committee. I just want to let
that's-
everybody know.
Well, we appreciate you being
Thank
a
you
part
for-
of it, and,
Your work.
Yes. So this will be my last meeting.
okay, well, you've been busy. So do we, now we have,
What's the process,
what's
Jason?
our process? Yeah.
So, timing-wise, anybody who is up for reappointment or would like to apply to serve on one of the advisory committees, those are all going, I believe, to the first October meeting, town council meeting. So we encourage anybody, not just for public safety, but for any other advisory committees, anybody that might be listening, to just get those applications into town hall, to the town clerk's office. I think they're preferably hoping to get them by this Friday, so they can put them on for October. Because anybody that needs reappointments as well, those should be going to the first October town council meeting, but I'll double check and let you all know.
Who on this board is up for
I
reappointment?
believe it was Heidi, I think Don, you were, and then I believe Susie, but let me triple check while I have you all here.
It definitely was Heidi and myself, and then if it's Susie, that's for sure. It was.
Yeah, Dawn and I filled out our form last week. or last meeting. I apologize for
So
that.
every year, when terms expire, usually the first meeting in October, for town council will reappoint or appoint the new committee members for the following year. So let's triple check.
Okay.
So in that case, then we would have one vacancy moving forward for public safety for starting in October.
I would just like to take a moment to thank Lee Tran. I approached the folks that were working out on the road in front of Estero Cove and the hotel down there, the Wyndham Garden Inn, about the bus stop that is directly in front of Estero Cove. And we had a lot of people using the bus stop to go north. Of course, they want to come up to downtown area here and see what's going on. And they were gathering there. They had no bench, they had no trash can, they were wandering all over our property. And as a result, it was causing us a concern. So I spoke to him, he directed me to someone at Letran, I sent an email, and the next thing you know, we have a bench and a trash can. So I can't thank them enough. I think that will go a long way towards keeping people from wandering around, and I think it's indicative of the fact that that particular bus stop gets a lot of activity particularly from people staying at the hotel, and then, of course, in season, when there's a lot of density and volume of people there, so I thank them.
Nice. I think the only thing I have to say is I've been gone for a few months, so I've been a little out of touch of what's going on around the island, and it's interesting when you read the news, the things that, like I read about a homeless man who fought a woman with a machete and a knife, and it made, it was in our news. I always get notifications for down here. But it's better. Yesterday I did a little more research, and they're like, nope, it wasn't on the island, it was off the island. So those kind of things I think are important. Now that I'm back, I can actually do my homework before there's this knee-jerk reaction that we have this issue. It's been pretty quiet. I haven't been getting emails or anything, so I'm anxious to see how everything plays out with all the construction going on downtown and with Margaritaville, and I'm anxious to see how these test sites are working out for the biking, and I really do want to hope for next year that we can come up with some solutions for bikes and pedestrians from Red Coconut to Times Square. I've been saying it for months, and we've got a lot more golf carts now on the island.
We do.
To come up with, again, solutions. If it's, they take up less parking spaces, or if we have different ideas of what we can do to, I know this isn't really much safety on that aspect, but it's more traffic, but it does go hand in hand.
Have we heard anything from FDOT about their plans at the base of the bridge and how that's going to impact us?
They were supposed to have another public forum. I have
Oh, were they?
not seen the date for that. We are on hold, so I thought maybe Dan would know more about
Right,
that.
if he was here, I was going to ask him.
I thought they were not starting construction till 2023, so I would assume we're going to get more information in the next few months, but I have not seen the next public forum where we can see their plan.
Right, we haven't seen a finalized version of their plan yet, so I was just
No, we have
curious.
not.
We had a lot of input. I'd like to see if there's any fruit to that.
Right. The only other thing I wanted to bring up is about the sheriff's station that's at the base of the bridge when they're coming out. I know people have been talking about that. I should have asked Officer Benora, but I'm wondering if you're on the beach or if you're having an issue, safety issue, something that you need to go get help, why would they not consider placing that unit where it was near the parking lot by Salty Crab? I feel like that is more accessible to people who are in Times Square. If you're on the beach, if something's going on, you're getting there, as opposed to walking out of your way toward the bridge. I don't know if, I just wanted to throw that out, that it might be an idea to look at another.
Dawn, I don't mean to interrupt, but I think it's because that's all town parking, I believe.
You mean that lot, I'm looking at the TV, the spot of land where where the thing is, where the actual unit is, that's gonna be
Where-
converted to public parking?
No, I'm saying where you're looking at saying would be a better spot next to the Salty Crab, that's town parking. So that, I believe the town isn't gonna give up their parking spaces to keep it there, which that would be a fantastic spot for it.
Well, maybe Lee County will give us a sliver of that park.
Right, that's really all they need is a
They
sliver.
need a sliver of, but I just think it would be better served closer to the beach, closer to the activity.
I agree 100%.
Yep.
Where it's at now, it's not really accessible to pedestrians.
No,
Right.
it's going to be harder to drive there once Margaritaville is there with the traffic patterns. I just think there is a better place we could put that
Right, to better serve the
to
community.
better serve the community.
Right.
So I will be bringing that up to Dan, and maybe we can bring that up then, town council.
I mean, but where else would there be an option for it? I'm just trying to think of a space that would, excuse me, a space that would work.
Well, the county owns that entire park there.
Yeah.
And they also own the parking lot
Right.
next to Times Square. So this isn't gonna require a huge loss in either
Right.
parkland or parking to put it up in an area where it would be more accessible to pedestrians approaching it and saying, hey, I need help, or I lost my child, can someone here help me? I mean, those kinds of things where people, they know where it's at, they can approach it. Where it's at now, it's not really approachable.
Right.
Well, and that lot next to the Salty Crab is actually a county lot. It's not
I
a,
was gonna say,
Yeah, it's adjacent to that Crescent Beach Park. Yeah,
right, so why not look at, that's the perfect area to have it. It still has a presence. You're next to the beach. And it's accessible. And if you kept a few parking spots, you would have parking for people there if they're coming in. I just think that, I think that's something that we need to research and then talk to town council to suggest.
Talk to the sheriff's office.
And the
about it,
sheriff.
too, because I think they're using that as it's really an information place,
Right.
more than a public safety place in terms of there aren't gonna be deputies stationed there. But if someone went there for help, they could certainly take care of them until the deputy could get to them. It would be a safe place for them to go. And I like the idea that there are parking spots there, so someone could drive there if they needed
Right.
to, if they were, a little ways.
But you know what, I guess, in my opinion, why wouldn't it be a safety place if you had something going on instead of just informational? I mean, you see these officers, if they're they're hot, they'd have a little hub that they could go. Well, they're either migrated, or the concentration is down by Times Square or Lani Kai and on Palermo and Primo, that's where they're at. It'd be a hub for them to go. I do know that, the sheriff made mention that they like having that presence when people come over the island, that they say, hey, there is law enforcement here. They'd still have that presence. You're seeing it right in the hub where all the activity is. Right. And the beach is shut down at dark anyway, the offices are there. If there was a problem, that'd be the place, it'd be a nice place to be able to go, instead of just getting a flyer or information, you know?
Right, I agree, I think.
I'm gonna bring that up. Okay,
I agree also.
that's my 2 cents on that.
And I like where you see it when you're coming over the bridge and there's a presence there, because if it's tucked away, no one sees it, no one knows it's there.
So you like it at the base of the
I
bridge?
like it at the base, or at least somewhere that is where people see it, because it's a quick reminder, like, oh, it's there. One for, if there is a safety or a need, that people just think about it. Oh yeah, I've seen it. I know exactly where that is if something comes up. But I do like the presence of it. It's a matter of, I agree. You don't want people running across the street trying to seek help. But being closer to the
The
beach.
highest likelihood of making it an approachable place is to put it in an area where Dawn was recommending. And I think it could provide the visual appearance that you're referring to, the visual presence in that location, and people, because everyone has to come around that curve and go down there anyhow, so.
Well, and the other thing is, when I come on the island, I don't see that as a substation. I see that as a billboard, as like, hey, I would not even know that that's somewhere I'm supposed to go.
Right.
So whereas if I'm walking down the street, which most people are either walking or driving, if you're here on vacation or something, you see that's right down in the hub by the park, right by downtown. I think that would be optimal.
Right. I think there's a
Plus, the
lot that
park
could be
could,
explored
the
there.
park could be used a little more efficiently than it is right now.
Yeah, I think it's certainly worth exploring, I think.
Yep. I will make that recommendation to town council, and then also see how I can get my voice heard. Okay. Jim?
Just wanted maybe for people also listening to learn a little bit more about the bike lane markings. What's next? Just as we talked about recently about the color markings, it's a great pilot to learn from. We're doing some studies to see what people think about it. But then how do we scale up from there? You know, what would be the plan? Do we need a budget for something like that, or is that being covered by Lee County, or how does that work?
We can ask Lee County what their plan is. If they did this pilot, then what do they, foresee the next step is, if it's positive, or if they can do additional projects. That would come out of their budget since they own the street. Do they own the sidewalks too? Yes.
Yes.
So they own the sidewalks too, which is what I really want to do some things on. For example, all that, we did all the green space along Estero Boulevard where they put the plants, and keeping up is a little hard. Why not make the sidewalk bigger? So we could have a bike lane on the sidewalk up north, but I will send an email to Rob Phelan and see what the next step is and what their plan is and what they're looking for. So they can, because we did not have that in the email.
And just want to make sure our voices are being held.
Yeah, I think they're looking for some community input or response to that, as well as how effective it is and maybe how well it's going to weather in the sun and our environment.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to do just fine. It's going to behave just like all the lines. It's going to eventually fade over time, but still be quite visible, more visible than just the white lines. No doubt about that.
So yeah, just how is that going to scale up, and then, like you said, from down towards Times Square, like what the plan will be there for like a phase 2 test.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, I think.
I did get clarification from the clerk's office, so applications are currently due this Friday, September 23rd by noon. And then all those reappointments and appointments will be going to the October 3rd town council meeting. So.
All right, so we are looking for two
We'll have-
or one?
I believe we will have one, because it was Susie, and then yourself, and then Heidi were the three up for renewal.
You two would be reappointed.
Yes, yes, okay. Well, I think that's it.
So when is our next?
Our next meeting is on October. You have some, would you like to say something? Public comment, guest?
I was going to.
I wondered, I was like, public comment, public?
Good morning, I'm John R. King. I just wanted to introduce myself and say thank you for all you do on this committee. I hate to burst your bubble a little bit, but my drive down here from the south end, I followed a Kia Sportage that drove right through all the bus and the bike lanes, even the highlighted one. But I have been out on the bike in that area, and it's nice. It feels like there is something there, but there were no bikers in the area. So I also wanted to let you know, as a candidate, I had met with Sheriff Marcino recently, and I brought up a couple of things to him, and I know you've addressed these in the past. I let the sheriff know that regardless of who wins the town council elections, that community policing is coming, and to be ready for it. And he was more than happy to be on board with that. He knows that it's going to take a while to get there, to bring it up to speed. But I asked him to keep the taxpayers and the town budget in mind, because there are federal grants out there that would help support this program, paying up to about 75% of the salaries for the officers. The 25% could be negotiated between the town and Lee County. The town can pick it up all, but it would be a nice savings. Maybe we could even add more officers on the island with that. So he was very in favor of that. As a matter of fact, he mentioned that he has a person on staff that's a grant writer. So that would be a big asset. I know in the past, the town of Fort Myers got $1 million from this grant. So We also discussed the homeless situation that was taking place not long ago in Times Square area. He had not been aware of that at the time, but he's committed to helping those that want help through the HOT program, the Housing Homeless Outreach Program. But he said those that are just laying around exposing themselves will be kicked to Charlotte County. So from that, I got to meet a meeting later with Captain Legler and Mark, and just got more of their commitment to do the things that are necessary. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Okay, so the next meeting,
I think it's October 18th.
yes. So, does that work for everybody? Well, we'll keep it on the agenda as of
Yeah.
now, so,
Oh,
we're
by the way, the next MPO is the 21st
okay,
of October.
all right.
Okay.
Okay, I think that's it. I think we can make a motion to adjourn.
I motion we adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All right, all in favor? All right,
Aye.
Bye.
okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for letting me call in or Zoom in.
Feel better.
Thank you.